So I want to invite you into a moment, a scene, a garden, a choice that we're stepping into one of the most emotionally raw, theologically rich, and spiritually weighty moments in all of Scripture. And that's in the Garden of Gethsemane. The Passover meal has been eaten. The upper room has been left behind, and Jesus and his disciples have crossed over the Kidron Valley, and they've entered into the garden on the Mount of Olives. Its name, Gethsemane. In Hebrew, it means the oil press. Jesus, the Son of God, the spotless Lamb, the eternal Word made flesh, walks into a place literally named the press. It's a place where things are crushed, where pressure turns fruit into oil, where something beautiful is produced, but only through the breaking. And in this garden, Jesus is about to be crushed. And he says to his disciples that my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. He's not indifferent. Jesus is not on autopilot. He's deeply troubled. He's sorrowful to the point of death. And yet, he stays and he prays. He doesn't run away. And let me show you why the setting matters. Because in Jesus' day, there would have been a literal olive press nearby on the Mount of Olives. And here's how that worked. After the harvest, olives would be dumped into this stone basin. A millstone, often weighing over 1,000 pounds, was rolled over these olives, crushing them completely. That was stage one, called the crushing. And then came the pressing. The crushed olive mash was packed into baskets and pressed 3 separate times. The first press yielded the purest of all oils. This was used in the temple by the priests. The second was used for food and medicine, and the third press, using maximum weight, produced oil for lamps and soap. There were 3 presses, each one increasing in pressure. Now think about this. Jesus prays 3 times in the garden, and Luke tells us that his sweat became like great drops of blood. Now that's not poetic, that's medical. It happens under extreme anguish. Jesus was being pressed, he was being crushed, and he didn't walk away. He could have. Gethsemane sat near a road where Jesus could have easily disappeared into the wilderness, but instead he prays, Father, if there's any other way, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. You see, that's not weakness. That's surrender. And that surrender is the heartbeat of our salvation. There was no other way. The cup that Jesus speaks of was the wrath of God against sin. For justice to be served, someone had to pay. And Jesus, the only sinless one, took the full weight of our punishment. He didn't die as a martyr. He died as a substitute. That's the gospel. The wrath you and I deserve, Jesus absorbed it. The punishment that should have been ours, he took it. The garden is where that surrender was sealed. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever known what God wanted you to do, but everything in you resisted? You ever felt like following Jesus would cost too much? Gethsemane's for you, because in that garden, Jesus shows us that discipleship isn't about convenience, it's about surrender. It's not about adding Jesus to your life, it's about fully laying your life down. And I've heard people say, like, weddings are like death ceremonies, and while it gets a few laughs, it's really not wrong, because 2 people stand before one another and they say, I'm not living for just me anymore, I'm yours. And that's what following Jesus means. You don't invite him in as a life coach. You die to yourself so that he can live through you. The Apostle Paul says in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. That's not a metaphor. That's the Christian life, where the old you dies and the new you is filled with Jesus. Not just behavior changes, but heart transformation. And here's the truth. You can't pursue your own will and God's will at the same time. One has to give. And when we finally surrender, and I mean really surrender, we find that his will is better. His joy is fuller. His love is stronger. So as you reflect on Jesus in the garden, don't just observe, respond. He said yes to the Father so that He could say yes to you. He was pressed so that you could be made whole. He was crushed so that you could be set free. And my prayer for you is this, is that you would lose your life so that you could find it. That all of you would be poured out and all of Jesus would be poured in. So here's the question that you've got to answer. Will you live pressed or will you live preserved? Because one leads to surrender, the other leads to self-preservation. One leads to life, the other keeps you safe but stuck. And Jesus stepped into the oil press so that you could be made whole. He said yes to the cross so that you could be free from the crushing weight of sin. He didn't avoid the pressure, he embraced it. And out of that agony flowed redemption. And now it's your turn. Will you keep running your own life on your own terms? Or will you lay it all down, your plans, your comfort, your control, and say with Jesus, not my will, but yours be done? Because the life that Jesus offers doesn't come after everything gets easier. It comes when everything is surrendered. So let your Gethsemane moment come. Let your will be pressed and watch how the oil of God's mercy, his power, and purpose flows through you, not in spite of the pressure, but because of it.